You're going to guts in 3, 2, 1. G'day, listeners. Welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. I'm Jordan Spencer, and it is that special time of the week where we get to talk Olympics, our first Olympic special, and we are pretty pumped. But first, I have to introduce my two idiot mates. First off, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
Hey, Pete.
Greetings all. From the powers that we have as a group, I've put it forward individually. I've gone on our behalf, by the way, to the IOC that the Olympics have to last for another 4 weeks. So I put it forward, and the word is that it's going to be okay. They're going to compete for another 4 weeks just to go and cover my lockdown.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
I'm in lockdown for another 4 weeks, and it's been great the last 5 days. It's kept me focused and happy. So it looks like we're going to have an extended Olympic Games. Thank you.
Sounds wise. Let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
I must admit, when I kind of had the idea of doing a bit of a midweek Olympic special, I thought I was going to be in lockdown as well, but I'm not. And ordinarily it would be down the pub now, but not to be.
Not to be.
And it is yachting. We're well into it, gents, with the sailing on in Enoshima. And it's certainly throwing it up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
How good is the coverage? Should we talk about that? We like the coverage. I like the coverage. Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
The thing they're lacking is me as a commentator, or us as commentators. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, you can keep the commentating. I'm just there for the smart ass comments.
That's right.
But it's what I do best.
Not to disparage Jenny Tulloch. We're a massive fan of Jenny Tulloch, and she's doing a great job. She was on episode 15 of Bar Karate, just in case you want to go and find out who that is.
But how cool's the onboard coverage? Just
unbelievable.
The iPhones.
I know.
Yeah. Created their own little network that all the iPhones are working off of. Whether it's an iPhone or Huawei or whatever it is, just lecky tape to a boom or to the our Fairlead or whatever it is, but pretty cool.
Yeah.
There is a lot of people commenting in our little groups that we've got about how cool it is, how getting on board with the guys and girls it's been the best that they've seen, and it's a step up for the Olympics anyway. We've been used to the the America's Cup and the Sail GP in the last 6 months or so, but this has been wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it though, the tech's building. I forget what the exact term is, the exact rule, but the tech's building such a rapid pace.
Yep.
That if it just keep continuing like this, pretty cool. And the way 7+ is doing it for us Aussies, good to watch.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not just the sailing. I've been super impressed. I've been able to watch the surfing. I've been able to watch a bit of kayaking. Yep. I've been able to watch a bit of other sports that I wouldn't normally watch. Like I turned the TV on today and basketball's on. Yeehaw.
Just settle down, son.
I'll leave you two to
it.
It says Bicey is the only one playing in a basketball team out of the
mighty Seton Heat, by the way.
All right, let's get into it a bit. Where should we go first? Interesting one. Well, obviously, we're going to be a little Aussie bias for those from other part of the world, but that's all right. Mara Stransky in the laser radial. Did you boys hear she trod on a sea urchin day one and was sailing the first day with spines in her foot?
Spines in her foot.
I can tell you what.
Went through the boot.
And mate, have you heard of the Japanese sea urchin?
No.
Yeah, do not tread on a Japanese sea urchin.
She's a tough unit.
She's lucky she actually still has a leg.
Yeah.
To tell you the honest truth.
I was a bit worried for her, but
well, I have to say that would be painful.
Well, that's before her first race.
Yep.
It's a good intro, isn't it, into Olympic sailing?
Yep.
We'll have a crack at this.
Yeah.
From an Australian perspective, she's sort of she's probably finishing 18, 19, 20 sort of range, which suggests she's just missing a little bit of speed. You know, when from a coaching perspective, you look at that and you think, there's a bit of a speed issue there because it's consistently the same number. So I'm not sure what it is.
Which is interesting, that being consistent where the rest of the fleet isn't really that consistent. Just based on the different weather that they're saying. Quite light the first couple of days because they were one of the first off, and now starting to get a bit more breeze.
The interesting thing, in episode 24, we chatted to Anne-Marie Rindom, the Danish sailor, and she now, with the volatility in the race scorecard, has come up and she's looking pretty nice at the moment. Her overall results leading the way for the women's laser radial. The one that was interesting, though, at the start of the regatta was Lynn Hust from Norway. If you remember, we had Anders Peterson on F110, and he suggested to watch out for her. The usual superstars like Marit Baumeister's up into third now, but Anne-Marie and Josephine Olsen from Sweden. So the Northern Europeans and, Denmark, Sweden, Netherlands, Norway, Finland, and then Belgium, the country that doesn't exist, before we get to the Greeks. So it's Northern Europe on fire at the moment. I wonder if we get another day of strong winds, whether that'll change. Any thoughts?
So I think, the initial the breeze was in the north or northeast on the first few days, and now they're back to the regular southerlies that they'd been training in pre-regatta. Now that typhoon stuff's kind of moved through. So it'd be interesting to see what the consistency looks like from here with 4 races to go for both the radials and the standard rig.
In talking about consistency,
when you look at the Icklas.
Oh, the Icklas.
What do we decide, laser or Ilka?
Well, it's Ilka's, isn't it? I don't know.
Mate, I was at IKEA the other day and I was going to buy myself an Ilka.
Is that the blonde one in the corner? Ilka from Sweden. But in Anne-Marie Rindom's case, if you look at her results, she's actually been quite consistent. There's been a drop, obviously, is not, but she's, out of all of the fleet, she deserves to be where she is. She's sailing a great regatta.
Yeah.
12 points clear.
Awesome chick as well. Great fun to chat to. It's a good episode if you haven't listened to it. She's a great lass. So
yes.
And we're very much behind her. Obviously, we're behind the Australians and Mara, but I'm very much behind Mara. Just we're close to the family, so good on Anne-Marie. She's as BP, as you just said, really nice scorecard to be carrying into the later stages of the regatta. They had a day off today.
It's a coach's scorecard.
That's exactly what it is, mate. That's exactly. Well, let's talk about that. We'll take that onto the laser men's, roll into the laser men's and have a look at the scorecards there. And we'll just talk about a couple of issues. So Pavlos Kontidis is leading the way on that event.
And talk about consistency.
Exactly.
Doesn't get much better than that.
But if it was
4-7-5-1-1 dropping a 20, not bad
at this stage, yeah.
And then Matty Wern's in second. But if it was a one-drop regatta, Matty Wern's got a 17th, right? That he can't drop. So if it's a one-drop regatta, he couldn't drop that. He's dropping a 28th, and then he's 2-4-2-2. So nice. And Matty loves the number 2, as we know. I think 3 times second at the World Championships. Currently,
Bridesmaid is the name of his boat, apparently.
What is it?
Bridesmaid.
Bridesmaid, yeah.
Not this time.
But if in that situation, like you'd put every cent on, if you're betting on Pavlos winning, because you'd get a match race in the gold medal race, and Matty Wern he'd sailing back as quick as possible. That's the weakness of having a volatile scorecard versus a low scorecard. But he.
Not to be outdone in the laser, our mate Robert Scheidt.
Oh, just
third overall.
What a great point.
Yeah.
Great point. The question I was going to ask, though, thinking back for the last few gold medals, do you have to be a ginger to win the laser
I think
medal.
I think you do.
I think you do.
Yeah.
But
I don't know that Wernie's going to pull it off.
yeah, he doesn't have the magic ging, does he? So
No.
Well, as a matter of fact, after our episode when we spoke to him, he said, "You blokes bang on about the bloody Ginger challenge so much. How do I join?" So when I sent the merchandise pack up, I
red dye.
put some red dye in for him.
Well, in that case, he's looking good.
well, I'm just going to say the inside knowledge I've got is that he did apply the red dye after race
3. Yeah. Oh, sorry,
race
right. With a 2.422.
Yeah.
Good.
And that makes perfect sense when you look at it. I mean, he would have been struggling at 17 and 28. Get the red dye out and he's away. So anyway, hey, Laser Men looking awesome. And I've got to say that back to that footage of the Laser Men, it was great to watch. Those Mount Mark roundings were just awesome.
I got to say, after our discussion with Phil Sunday night, and then basically I was watching the lasers, it was a bit boring, blah, blah, blah. Holy shit, man. You see them at every mark rounding.
Yep.
I do believe that, the races could be more races and it shorter, but that's just another opinion. But my point is that the corners are awesome because if you look at it, they really are super even across the fleet. There's probably 20 in that fleet that could do well enough, to get some great results. And
I'll tell you one who's not getting the best results though is our friend, your friend Jordan Teriki Numa from Papua New Guinea.
I think
he's battling it out nicely though.
Well, no, but he's dropping a 35. He's going all right.
Yeah,
going all right.
Yeah.
Good on him. Good on him.
Oh, good on him for having a crack.
What are the Olympics about?
Exactly. Participation.
He got a 34th today. So,
that's
right. But he'll carry that, right? He won't drop that one.
No, he'll be carrying that. So, Tiriki Numa from Papua New Guinea.
We love you, mate. Come on.
Yeah, we're a big fan. So I'm honest, we're not taking the piss here. We are genuinely cheering for Tiriki Numa from Papua New Guinea, which is just to the north of Australia there. Great place. And cheering for you, bud. He did have one glamour when he got a bad start, and I think it was the first race or something. So got forced out early, and the right-hand side paid, and he was looking good for a while.
We know what the Olympics are all about, and we love these stories. In fact, for all of those guys that are, out there having a crack, we support you 100%, and we're proud of you all.
I will say the first yacht club I ever went into as a wee tacker was the Port Moresby Yacht Club.
Oh, we would have hung out with Tariki's father, probably.
I'd say so.
Probably a bit old.
Yeah,
grandfather. Grandfather.
It was a long time.
Enough about the lasers.
All right, where to next, BP? You're in charge.
Go, BP.
Well, why don't we go to the? Hang on, I've got my little list.
Let me segue it in. We also bagged in our last episode the 470s. Well, we didn't. Rob, Phil did. So let's talk 470s then. How's that for a segue for you?
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Good. I got to say, I had
I look great.
Our other host over here today doing a bit of business with one Harry Fisher, and we watched the 470 race, and they do look bloody good.
Absolutely, they're great.
Bloody good. Great boat through the water.
Yeah,
upwind they look fantastic.
Yeah, they look about 60 to 70% as good as a fiver.
Oh, we did mention it's probably not far off the five. Oh, hang on, no, that was Sharpie we were talking about. No, but you can see how comfortable they are upwind. How much they're working, and it is a similar look to a fiver. For sure.
And one of the things, good technical boat too as well. So there's a whole level of skill in those boats, which those sailors are really exhibiting. And one thing I noticed for Matt Belcher and Will Ryan was the height that they had in their boat.
Oh, yeah.
Especially that first race, they just they
got a good start, so they could.
I think the pressure was a little bit up as well, and they seemed to have a nice groove for the boat. But geez, they looked settled off that. Even in the second race, they had a bad start. Well, medium to bad start. I think they got down as deep as 16th at one stage, and they have got the boat speed. And you'd want to expect that of the guys, but they pulled back a fifth in that second race, so it was pretty.
So, observation, gents. apart from the lasers and the RSXs, which are supplied, everything else is bring your own. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Did you just say the lasers are bring your own?
No, apart from the lasers.
Apart from the lasers, sorry.
And the RSXs. Is everything else bring your own? So there are, because I did notice some slight differences. Well, you do notice some slight differences between the various boats, fins, 470s, all those different things. And I mean, we've had that discussion with both fin sailors and 470 sailors. So they must find the one that they like and just go for it, right? Have the faith.
That's part of the skill.
Yeah.
So, as long as it fits the numbers, so you can shape your own centerboard. I know some of the technology that goes into the centerboards. You pick your up mast, what mast you want to do, get the sail. So the Japanese, North Japan is go-to for the Australian team.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. It was good to see. It's good to see Belcher and Ryan going quite well from our perspective, being biased as we are. We had Will on the show, episode 63, and Matt on the show, episode 56. And being Aussies, the fact that they had such good height and could dial it in when they wanted is even better, because that just means that they'll work. If they do get buried deep, it gives them the opportunity to work out of a fleet, because they can hold a lane. So it's very good. In the rest of the good to see the Kiwis doing a great job as well in second place. Paul Snow Hansen and Dan Wilcox, and then Jordi Charmer and Nick Rodriguez, the Spanish. Now they're a threat. Very talented team there, as is actually
Spanish in general. Got a strong sailing team.
Yep,
they have
across all the fleets.
They're always we'll talk about the Finns later, but. That was the other guys that impressed me was in the first race in particular were the Swedish, but they couldn't get out of the hole in the second race.
Well, they got a penalty, didn't they? They took
a penalty off the start, but they had a deep start as well. But they got smashed to a circle.
Yeah.
But they showed extreme pace when they were out in the front. But,
very talented team, Anton Dahlberg.
Well, he's current world champion, isn't he?
Yeah. So.
For the viewers, this episode's brought to you by Black and Gold, natural sparkling water.
All right. What about the women? Did you guys?
I did. I watched the races. Did anyone else watch the races?
The poles impressed, obviously, with a couple of bullets straight out of the bag.
Can you tell us the name of the crew?
No, this is up to you.
Yolanta? Yolanta Ogar.
Yolanta Ogar. And who's steering, Jordan?
Yolanta or what? Your car?
Yolanta a car.
Agnesta is steering in the Polish team. But
what's her last name?
This is the standout result for these guys. Like they're good sailors, but they haven't had a major regatta win like an Olympic or World Championship or even podiumed, I don't think. Hang on. Agneta, she was world champion in 2017, I reckon, actually. So I take that back. But different crew this time.
Yeah.
So,
and then flag bearer for the Great Britain, Hannah Mills, sitting in third. Solid.
Yeah,
always there.
There with Ed Melody.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it? The Japanese are ones to watch. When it goes light, guys, I'd be very interested on seeing how the Japanese team, which is currently lying in fifth, pick up. They're one to very much watch. They've put a lot of, and in the men's as well, they've put a lot of effort into the 470s. Definitely one to watch. I reckon Hannah Mills will go pretty well in that too. Hannah and Melody. Good fun, huh?
Long way to go, but looking like it's it'll settle, I think, over the next day with these guys.
Good start though, 2 firsts.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that.
Doesn't get much better.
Is she dropping a first or? That puts her at 1 point.
You never want to drop a first.
Our girls, Nia and Monique, well, they had a great first race. They showed extreme speed upwind. They managed to get themselves into third and hit the mark on the top mark the first time. Massive tide running out there. Did a spin and then ended up back in 6th or 7th or maybe even 8th, and then got back up to third to the top mark for the second time.
Yep.
I just felt like they were battling a little bit downwind. maybe just trying to sail a bit deep. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a 470 expert, so I just from watching the GBR, the girls, Hannah Mills, they did quite nice against some downwind. So
I think
we'll
the
see.
issue might be for those two is that they need to get a clear lane. If they can get a clear lane, they can motor if it's windy. I've got a suspicion they're probably on the slightly heavier side to some of the other crews. So they just need that clear lane to get off and go. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, good fun. Good fun. What about the NACRA 17s? Did you boys watch any of that?
I didn't see any of it. I've got to say.
I watched it, and I got to tell you, trying to watch them go downwind,
painful.
It's like a showground ride. And especially that last little hitch that they have to the finish line in their last race today, they like basically a little bit tighter. So they're flagging the chute. And then once they get a bit of it like during the gusts and then in the lull, they'd pull it on again and tighten up. But yeah, loose as they jump out the water, then nosedive. It looks bloody hard.
It looks very
bloody hard.
Very hard.
Then the rudder comes out the water. It just looks
hard or
like
uncomfortable.
Shit fight in any sort of swell.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
they weren't falling cleanly ever.
I mean, we've kind of got the people that you'd expect within the top 10, I would say. So it's consistent from that point of view. But they just look hard.
I've got to say, how good did Tito and Banti look, the Italian team? They're pretty good. They're right there and around, but they did win the Worlds in 2018, I think. But
well, their results are all right.
Yeah, lovely. 1-3-1.
3-1.
They're dropping a 3.
Early days. I would say.
Absolutely early days. Jason Lease, well, they're thereabouts. So I guess we'll see how that pans out.
EP, if you didn't get to see the footage, they were on Santi's boat for a while, and you could hear Santi trying to breathe because he's missing a bit of a lung.
A little bit one, yeah.
Yeah, 80% of one or something. And you could hear him working, like just trying to get the air in. He's a warrior, but I don't speak good Spanish. My Spanish is not great. It's not as good as you and Bossy. And
See. Comprende.
Hola. Como estas?
Yo soy Jordan.
Yo
Anyway,
habla poco español.
I'm not sure if he was angry or he was just being encouraging on the boat, but God, it was quite aggressive. The audio coming off the boat.
It's the same, basically in swear words. It's the same words, but it depends how you say it. It could be good or it could be bad.
Yeah,
it depends on the tone.
Passionate.
I was thinking Cecilia the whole time is pretty tolerant, so I was just listening in, just going, "Oh, jeez." Gee, there's some, like they're all having close calls. These are the best sailors in these boats in the world, and they all look like they're on the edge. Look like you've got to watch it. It's just insane. Some of the mark endings, like, oh no. Oh yeah, we're good. Yeah. So who's going to win at the moment?
Italian.
I was also saying now tomorrow looks like it's going to be windier again, and then maybe starts to drop off a bit. I haven't got a long range forecast going. I haven't bothered with that, but more pressure on tomorrow. So probably see similar results again to today. And then, so that brings up an interesting discussion around the fins, my friend. We noticed we had some really obvious, when it was light results, like the fins are all one way in the light winds and all another way in the strong winds. So,
It shows.
to start off the regatta, Alec and Kana couldn't be touched.
No.
Yeah.
Well, to that matter, the top 3 that are currently in first, second, and third.
Well,
that was their positions.
Yeah.
Well, and then today though, old Scotty couldn't be touched either.
No, that's right. So, so you'd have to be backing in Giles for tomorrow because a bit of extra pressure, and then it does start to wash away. So it'll be interesting. You know what is interesting though, boys? Josh Jr., New Zealand.
Yep. 12-10-3-7.
What, you expected more or?
Oh, well, like I reckon there's extra pressure. There's extra pressure on guys like Matty Wern, who've been picked ahead of Tommy Burton, who was the previous gold medalist, and there's extra pressure on Josh Jr. because of Andy Maloney, like winning the world
Where
champ.
there's no obvious standout, you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There's extra pressure. And so from a selector's perspective, they might be sitting there just going, oh, did we do the right thing? And it's got to be on your mind, particularly for Josh and
it's probably extra pressure from the selector's point of view.
Andy.
Actually, for the guys out there yachting
Don't care.
like that, nah, I doubt that they would care. Or they wouldn't do anything different, but the selectors might be.
JJ and Andy are pretty tight, so maybe JJ would go, oh, maybe I should have left it for Andy. So AM.
Yeah.
Tell you what, though, look at those names in that fleet.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Well, our old mate Anders Peterson's having a good one.
Yeah, good on you, Anders. I know he lives.
Yes.
Yeah, great regatta. The ordinary man.
He's just
the average man. 189 centimeters.
The average man. Average man.
The average bloke.
So good on him. He had a really good race 3 today. It was quite stunning. He just got pipped to the post, but he had a really good whole race. So
race 4 though was interesting though, BP, because
I did miss that one.
There was a big shift in the positioning. I think was it race 4? I'm sure it was race 4. Or was it race 3? One of the races. I think it might have been race 3 actually. Alakan was leading again, and then it's all just shifted. And Giles, like halfway through the race, it just suddenly there was a big change on the leaderboard. Giles came to the fore, and Alakan started dropping back. So yeah, and the same that sort of groups moved through. So it'll be good fun. Like to see the big lads. The big lads will shine tomorrow. And then I guess there's only the 49ers left team.
Well, and the RSXs, don't forget.
Oh, okay.
Those things.
Easy to forget given we don't have any teams in the RSX. So why don't we just give the RSX a little plug just for the minute now? Okay. Have you watched any racing?
Have not.
Love it. I love it.
Men, what are we going to do? Men or women first?
We'll go men.
All right, let's have a look at those.
The old the
Dutch.
The Dutchies.
Dutchmen.
The standouts in this class.
Quite clear. I saw they're 9 races in, so they've only got 3 more races till the medal race.
Yeah, right.
But the one race I watched, which I found interesting, was the difference between railing, centerboard up, mast base back, working off the fin. So it got pretty technical, but pretty cool, I reckon. And that obviously to be replaced by the iFalls, right, for the next Olympics. But liked them, and they're not the most represented, but they've still got 25 countries there, which is a lot more than the 470s, the Finns, and a few others. So,
easy access.
Yeah, but speak about having to be fit. Whew, as a board sailor,
light,
definitely.
lean, and fit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cheerio goes out to our mate Nata Fong Fona Farrafit. In the back there, having a crack. He's out there.
Oh, Natty.
Pumping around. We'll just call him Natty for short, eh? Good old Nat.
Yeah.
It's good to see.
So the Dutchies and the Italians, he's probably in second best, like as far as like getting away from the rest of them. And then in the women, in second we've got Chinese, Young Ju Lu. I often think back after our discussion with our
with Lily.
I wonder when Youngju was recognised as going to be competing at the Olympics as a young person.
Yeah.
Anywhere in any Chinese in any Olympics now, I think that, rightly or wrongly.
Lily did mention her, didn't she?
Yeah. So, but she's smoking along. The first 3 are pretty close actually, which is GBR, China, France.
Yep.
Very
cool. I'm looking forward to when they become foiling. I'll be honest. I think I'm more excited by that. I am excited by the 49ers.
Yep.
Yeah, watched a bit of them. Good too.
Interesting. So we'll go to the men. Bad start by Pete and Blair.
Yeah, coming good though. Look at them creeping up the leaderboard.
Yeah, coming real good, real quick. But there's plenty of talent there they have to take on. So Dylan Fletcher and Stewie Bithell with their lead, and Diego Boten and Iago Lopez in second against the Phillips brothers in third. We're pretty happy about that.
Absolutely.
Got to be happy with that. And having a win as well.
Watched a couple of their races and thought their performance was solid on the first day. It was tricky conditions. Oh my God, it was shifty.
They look good though, don't they?
They do look good. And
Yeah.
I think that, they've got every opportunity, to really to shine. I mean, we look at that fleet though. It's not an easy fleet, but
No.
No.
I must
they're
admit,
in a good spot.
I felt for our mate Leo Takahashi. That race that got pulled yesterday, I think. They were in the top 3.
Yeah.
Looking good. So
Yeah.
that was a bit of a pity. But
Episode 71. Leo.
speaking of which, gents, are you aware that we've had 17 of the current Olympians on the show?
Do you realise what I was just about to say? This isn't scripted, ladies and gentlemen, by the way. Do you realise I was just about to say, how many Barcaratians have we got out of this list?
17.
17
Current Olympians.
Barcaratians.
Yeah.
17 Barcaratians.
So
Good job.
that's well over 10% of all our guests.
Come
Probably a
from these
bit more,
names.
probably 12, 13%.
And we were trying to put more on, but we just ran out of time. We didn't want to interrupt anyone's training. So we did have more lined up, but
it definitely gives you another, apart from obviously from our point of view, going for the Aussies, but given some people to cheer for, without a doubt. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to see Anne-Marie Rindom get up. I mean, she's been aching for it for so long, and you could tell in an interview we had with her that she just was just pushing so hard, and we'll keep an eye on that one for sure.
Absolutely.
I guess then obviously the FX fleet doing a great job there. The Poms are going well, aren't they?
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, got a good
first day, they were just blistering.
The Poms are going to be a threat for the overall team of the regatta at the moment. Maybe Spanish and the Dutch. They're the Danish, not too far off.
I'd concur.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm intrigued. Like, I wonder how much pressure is on some of these coaches and event the staff, how much their careers ride on the performance of the athletes. I'm intrigued, like if the athletes go poorly, do they lose their jobs, or does their funding? I know the funding goes away, but it definitely, there must be a lot of pressure.
Well, it's your area of expertise. You must have felt it.
Not me.
No, not at that level.
No, I've never been part of the Australian coaching team. Just
but you're a coach.
I'm just
Still.
Where are we going here? But let's face it, some of these sports have some pretty serious benefactors behind them, right?
Yep.
Which is fortunate if you live in a country that does have that, but not as fortunate if you're just kind of just scraping your way along, trying to get by. I mean, you look, you got the Oatleys sitting behind the Australian sailing team. And by all means, I do not know the extent of the support here. And I saw the Australian swimming team. Gina Reinhart was sitting there with all the people in Queensland. Yep. So she's obviously a big benefactor behind that.
And the Australian sailing team have what they call the patron program. So there's a number of patrons. It's not just the Oatleys. A number of patrons. One of our guests is one of the patrons we've had on the show. I won't name him unless he
Alistair or
no. No. Anyway, I won't talk about anybody's financial position, but anyway, so that benefits them, and that's where the funding comes from, and the IOCs where is where the rest of the funding comes from.
Yeah, sure.
It gets the distribution out from that. For in the FX class, it's a little bit the same as you'd expect with Charlotte Dobson and Saskia Tidy sort of coming through to lead at the moment, from Annemiek Beckering and Annette Jutz, and then Tamara Shigoyan and Paula Barkelo. So it's interesting just seeing how that is. Martine and Kahina have sort of had a bad start, but are coming back into it, but they're not their normal selves. I wonder
No,
if
there's something going on there because they had a really tough first race. They went for a jibe set and got a knot in the halyard. It looked like,
Yeah.
and it just destroyed them because I think they were in second place at the time, and I can't help thinking that just shook them. Particularly, they got back to fifth for the second race, but they don't seem to have settled, do they? Well,
No.
other than the win, but obviously the rest of the results have been very inconsistent, which is not what you'd expect.
I think it's got to be a time away from the racing, being trapped with the COVID. They won the Worlds. Defending Olympic champion. They won the Worlds in 2014, and then I think they've got 4 seconds or something like that from memory. But the defending champion is Tamara and Paula, and then Annemieke and Annette, the two Worlds before the Dutch pairing. So they're looking pretty good. You'd expect them to be standouts, and they're the ones that are at the front. I'm just trying to think.
Where do you reckon Torben would be? Would he be in Martine's ear, or
Absolutely, 100%,
or Marco's ear in the 49er men? Where's he putting his money?
He's got a couple of ears, I'm sure.
Do you reckon mum's in one ear and dad's in the other?
Yeah, probably.
They're all a very passionate family. Yeah. So I don't know. That's a good question. The other thing to remember, of course, Charlotte Dobson was the runner-up at the Worlds in Geelong in 2020. So it's Charlotte and Saskia. So they've got form as well. I'm intrigued. It's going to be very tough to win this regatta.
Oh, just across the board. Tess and Jamie, our girls, they're battling it out in fairly consistent results. So you'd have to say that's where they're sort of sitting in the fleet. If they'd be great to get them up in the medal race, but they're down there having a crack, and that's how it is, I guess. If you look at the names in front of them, there's just a solid effort anyway across the board.
Good thing.
So where we're at, Ben, we're only pretty much 4 days in with the lasers, so it's still very early days. Apart from a couple of them, but this is Wednesday, July the 28th, and the first medal race is booked for Sunday, August 1st. So it's a couple more days left for them to really get cranking, and be interesting to watch.
We're going to do anything? We're going to do anything for the medal race, Vicey?
Aren't we?
I might put the feet up. No, we'll try and get a couple of experts on. Try and get a bit inside info from Anastasia.
Are we doing that Saturday before the? We're doing that before the.
Saturday night.
So we'll publish. What should we publish straight after that?
Yes, because then it'll be relevant.
Yeah, all right. We'll stick up. So it'll be a day early our publish, but it'll be there for the gold medals, and we're pretty certain we've got some major names for you. My neighbour Tom and Reg, who does the garbage collection at the Geelong Yacht Club.
Yeah. Oh, they're awesome. Is it Reg? Is Reg coming down? Is he from?
Well, he's only there because he's the one with the hospitality license.
That's it.
Good old Reg. Well, he knows a fair bit about lasers, so he'll be able to give us a good rundown.
So, are you willing to? Who are you backing? Anyone you want to put a gold medal around the neck of yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not for anyone really. The Finns. I guess there's a bit of a solid sort of rhythm happening, but
I think Wernie's strong.
I do too. I think he's really finding his feet.
Yeah.
Thing is with that fleet, you just can't carry that. As you said earlier, Jay, you just can't carry that big number. So at the moment, he doesn't have a huge number.
But you reckon it's 2 drops, BP? I couldn't find the sailing instructions, but we think it's 2 drops.
Yeah, I think it's 2
10
drops.
races.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but
I couldn't find the sailing instructions.
You'd prefer to be dropping a 6 and a 7 than a 23 and a 17, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But anyway, look, that's where it's at. You can't take it back. But in retro, he's in a good spot. So
yep.
Good times.
No pressure on him from us.
Never pressure from us. Yeah. Cool,
gents.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Well, I think that's a bit of a wrap for a little rundown. And if you're listening to this on a Friday, might be a bit irrelevant.
Right.
But no. And we'll have a crack. We'll put this up on video. So if you're doing nothing, especially for those in lockdown, poor bastards, check it out.
Good on ya.
Right. See you, lads.
Cheers, all.
Good luck, everyone, at the regatta.
Oh, gotta get my guitar.
Guitar. Get the guitar out.
Oh. Next week.
Run out of time.